Now, Absalom, he was known in the Bible as a very handsome man. 2 Samuel chapter 14 verses 25 to 26 tells us that there was no one in Israel as famous for his good looks as Absalom. He had no defect from head to toe. And when he had his hair cut, which he did at the end of every year because of the weight of his hair, the weight of his hair was 200 shekels. Shekels was the measurement they used back then. If we convert it to today's measurement, 200 shekels is 2 kilograms. And honestly, 2 kilograms is heavy. That's like 2 small bag rice. And that's just for hair. Tragically, handsome boy, what he did was he killed his half brother. If you want to read about it, the story, you can find it in the book of Samuel's in the Bible. What happened was his half brother actually committed a crime, and so that is why Absalom killed him. But even though he was acting in revenge, murder is it's not right? And it's your half brother, man. Anyways, so yeah, after killing his half brother, he ran away to his grandfather on his mother's side, because him and his half brother had the same father but different mothers. His grandfather was also a king named King Talmai, and so Absalom stayed with him for 3 years. Living there for 3 years was a long time, and so eventually David forgave him, and he was allowed to come back to Israel. And so he did came back. But having came back, David really did not know what to do with him. And he was not allowed to live in the palace with the rest of the family. So Absalom, he lived by himself. And even though he had came back, he was still somewhat like a social outcast. He was not really socially accepted in the community, and especially in the family. And this just went on for 2 years, him living by himself, never talking to the king. But after that 2 years, him and King David finally got back on talking terms. And so they started being friends again. So since not being an outcast anymore, what happened was Absalom, he went straight on to trying to win the hearts of the people of Israel. So his political games started, his political campaign started, and he had his heart set on being the king, the next king. So he went about wooing the people of Israel so that they would make him king. Now here's the thing about Absalom, all right? The guy, he was charismatic, he was handsome, he was young. So, being young, he was strong, and he was open to the people. He was easy to talk to. The Bible records that the people came up and they found him easy to talk to. And so because of that, he became a very popular figure with everybody. And then the Bible tells us that Absalom, he stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And so next thing you know, what happened was revolt. 2 Samuel chapter 15 verse 12 tells us this: and the conspiracy was strong, for the people increased continually with Absalom. So because of that, King David found out about it, and he fled. He gathered his wives, his children, and all the people that supported him also followed him, and they all fled because Absalom had started this uprising, and his followers were many, and they were now coming for the throne. Absalom and his men and David and his men, they squared off in a fight. Now this fight took place in the forest of Ephraim, and it was the final showdown. And what happened was David and his men were winning the fight. And from there we have this famous scene that is depicted where Absalom had his hair caught in the branches of a tree. So yeah, he and his men, they were losing the battle, and so he was fleeing on his mule. And there were some low branches in the forest, and so as he and his mule were as he was riding his mule and went through the forest, his hair got caught up in the branches. And so The mule ran on, but he was hanging now from the tree as his hair was caught up in the branches. A man came, saw him, and then went and reported it to the commander of David's army, Joab. And Joab came, had 3 spears with him, and drove it into the body of Absalom. And that was the end of Absalom.